Money, 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 money. Igbos call money ego. Hausas call money kudi. Yorubas call money owo. Even a child knows what money is meant for. Money is anything that is generally acceptable as a medium of exchange, as a store of value, and as a unit of account. As a medium of exchange, it means that money removes the need for double coincidence of wants and the inconveniences and difficulties associated with the barter system. As a store of value, by spending money, we can get any commodity in the future. People therefore normally wish to keep a part of their wealth in the form of money because saving in terms of goods can be very difficult. As a unit of account, it is the units in terms of which the values of other goods and services are measured. They're measured in terms of money and expressed accordingly. Different goods produced in the country are measured in different units. For instance, cloth in meters, milk in liters, and sugar in kilograms. Let me take you on a journey starting from the pre-money era. The history of money is a fascinating journey through human innovation and economic evolution. Before money, which was over 10,000 plus years ago, there was the barter system. In those days, a man who caught more fish than was necessary for himself and his group exchanged his excess fish for the surplus of another person who, for instance, had planted and harvested more tubers of yam than what he would need. This elementary form of trade prevailed at the beginning of civilization and may be found today among people of primitive economies. Imagine trading a chicken for a basket of apples. This system worked for small, close-knit communities, but had limitations when dealing with diverse goods, storing value, and conducting long-distance trade. Over 3,000 years ago, there was the early forms of money. As society grew more complex, the need for a more efficient system arose. Around 3000 BC, in Mesopotamia, the modern-day Iraq, people started using commodity money like barley, shells, or salt. Salt was another commodity, difficult to obtain, mainly in the interior part of the continent, also used as a preservative for food. The word salary, which by definition is the money due by the employer for the services of an employee, originates from the use of salt, which in Rome was used for payment of services. These items held inherent value and were relatively portable, divisible, and served as a common unit of exchange. A few examples. In Mesopotamia, which is the modern-day Iraq, barley ration later transitioned to silver ingots. China started with cowrie shells and later replaced shells with bronze knives. For Egypt, grain followed by gold and silver jewelry. The rise of coins commenced 600 BC. The Lydians, which is the present-day Turkey, are credited with creating the first standardized coins around 600 BC. The standardized coin made from electrum, a natural gold-silver alloy, facilitated trade and established governments as authorities over currency. Metal coins like gold, silver, and copper became widely used across civilization. The standardized coins were standardized with consistent value and easy identification. These coins were also durable. They last longer than perishable commodities. Also had the convenience for trade and travel, as that was a liked attribute of the coins. Metal coins, gold, silver, and copper, became prominent across empires. In Rome, they used gold, silver, and bronze coins for centuries. In China, they issued cast bronze with square O's. In the 11th century, there was the paper money emergence. In the Middle Ages, the keeping of values with goldsmiths, persons trading with gold and silver items was common. The goldsmith, as a guarantee, delivered a receipt. With time, these receipts became the means of payment, circulating from hand to hand, giving origin to paper money. In Brazil, the first banknotes, precursors of the current notes, were issued by Banco do Brasil in 1810. They had its value written by hand, as we do today when we write on checks. China again revolutionized the scene with paper money. Initially, promissory notes representing stored valuables, they eventually became widely accepted currencies. This innovation offered convenience, made for a lighter and easier way to travel than bulky coins. It provided security, centralized production and issuance provided control. It also brought about flexibility. It was easier to print and adjust money supply. However, challenges included potential forgery and inflation concerns. From medieval to modern era, there was the evolution of banking and credit. As economies grew more sophisticated, banking systems emerged, allowing for loans, deposit, and credit creation. This spurred further economic activity and diversification. The gold standard, where currencies were pegged to the value of gold, became dominant in the 19th and early 20th century. The emergence of banks also gave room for loans and deposits, which expanded access to capital. It brought about credit creation, which boosted economic activity. The Bill of Exchange also played its role in facilitating long-distance trade. From 20th century to present, we are moving gradually from fiat to digital currency. After World War II, the gold standard was abandoned, replaced by fiat currencies, whose value is backed by the issuing government's faith and credit. Technological advancement led to the rise of electronic payments and digital currencies like Bitcoin, further transforming the monetary landscape. Now let's look at the future of money. To speak more about the future of money, I have a guest on the show today. My guest is a distinguished figure in Africa's dynamic landscape of personal and financial empowerment. As a personal finance coach, he has carved a niche for himself as an influential voice in the realms of entrepreneurship and digital currencies. He is a prolific conference speaker in the areas of personal and professional development, money management, financial intelligence, blockchain, and cryptocurrency. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Andrew Ogbe. Welcome to the show.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Oluwapelumi Awe. It's nice to be on your show today.
Awesome. So let's start with this question. It feels like the last question I should ask, but I think I should ask it first. I want to ask you, are we at the end of the use of cash for transaction? Are we at the end of the use of cash for transaction?
Okay, well, that's an interesting question. I don't think we're anywhere near the end of the use of cash, right? It will be too, that would be too extreme to suggest that we are at the end of the use of cash. Right? It's just that with the evolution of things, more like when we started doing electronic transaction, you wouldn't say that didn't bring an end to the use of cash. Fiat currency is here to stay. What I see probably is like a coexistence between fiat currency and digital currencies, otherwise called cryptocurrency. But I don't think we're anywhere near the end of fiat, right? We may get there someday. I don't know. Change is the only constant thing in life. But right now, I don't think we're anywhere near the end of fiat currencies.
All right. So, in a layman's language, how would you describe cryptocurrency? I wanted to break it down because there are people who don't know about this and they want to get it in the simplest of terms. What is cryptocurrency?
Okay, the word cryptocurrency is actually a compound word, two words there, crypto and currency. Okay, crypto for in layman terms, crypto means crypt. It's from the word crypt, more like encrypt. To encrypt, code something, right? To hide something with codes. So if you don't want probably your kids to play with certain data on your laptop or on your device, you encrypt it, you code it, put a password or something. So that is what encrypt means. Currency, on the other hand, is a system of money. Okay, like we have the fiat currency, for example, it's a system of money. Any system of money that is generally accepted, we call it a currency. Okay, so if you put those two words together in a layman term, you say that cryptocurrency, that's encrypt, that's coded system of money, is a system of money that is coded, that is not like the one we know, what you have with where you have a central body that regulates its issuance and controls all the regulation, controls everything, who owns it, how you spend your money, and the rest. With cryptocurrency, on the other hand, because it's coded money, it's money that is coded on a technology called blockchain. So, in simple and in layman terms, you can just say cryptocurrency is coded money, money that is coded on a technology called blockchain.
Okay, so but somebody who seems to want to buy one of that, for instance, how does the person trade the currency? How do I trade? If I want to buy food, for instance, how do I trade the currency?
Okay, it's more like, cryptocurrency is just another system of money. The same way, let's say, for example, if you have fiat dollar in Nigeria, for example, you can't take dollar to Mama Yinka to buy food or to buy ewa. You can't. You won't accept fiat dollar because that system of money is not acceptable here. So also with cryptocurrency. So if you have the dollar, what do? You have fiat dollar. You have to go to Bureau de Change. Look for one of these guys that change what the fiat dollar to the currency that is accepted in your region. Same way with cryptocurrency. Any cryptocurrency that you have that is not accepted in your region, because there are certain regions, there are certain countries that accept cryptocurrencies as mainstream. They accept it as a legal means of payment. Even in the city of Abuja, there are certain hotels and airlines that you can pay with Bitcoin directly. But if wherever you want to buy something, you want to engage in a transaction and they don't take cryptocurrency directly, you use exchange platforms, convert your cryptocurrency to your local currency. The same way you want to change dollar to naira, you have these Bureau de Change guys. In that with that of cryptocurrency, they are not there's no physical shop actually. It's done, everything is done online. We have exchange platforms. Lately, one of the exchange platforms have become popular on the news, called Binance. Okay, it's the largest exchange platform in the world. So those type of exchange platforms, they are highly regulated. So you won't be scared for losing. You won't be scared. You shouldn't be scared losing your money. If you have cryptocurrency, you can exchange it to your local currency and you get credited in your bank account right away. Okay, no matter the amount you want to buy or sell. There are vendors, buyers, and sellers
that can aid exchange. Now, I think you mentioned as well that it's done online, so there is no physical place where you say this. But I want to ask the question. The question I want to ask is on two sides. First is, how safe is cryptocurrency? We've seen the news over the last couple of years now. The CBN has been on the back of the heels of those who are fronting the call for this to be more popularized. So the question is, and the CBN also released circular saying that if those who trade this currency are on their own because it's not regulated, and a few other things. So the question now is, how safe is cryptocurrency for a country, the use of that in a country, and how safe is it for individuals? So knowing fully well that whatever money that goes to the bank, so for instance, if you have more people who want to put their money in that form, in the crypto form, what happens to banks, for instance? They have to lay off their staff because more persons are not putting their money in the banks anymore. They're putting their money on these platforms. And we also saw how that the pressure happened. The pressure was mounted on banks because there was more demand than supply for foreign currencies about 2 months ago. So the question now is, how safe is this currency for a country, and how safe is this currency for citizens?
Okay, in this question you asked, very interesting. Two ways to look at it. The first one is how safe it is in terms of the technology. Are people going to, if you have money in cryptocurrency, are you going to lose your money? Are you going to, is it going to get hacked? So we have to look at it from that perspective. Then we're also going to look at it in terms of the safety with national policy. Is it going to, what is the impact on a nation's economy and the rest? I think we can look at it from these two aspects.
Sure.
So let me start from the first aspect. How safe is cryptocurrency? Actually, cryptocurrency is one of the safest ways or safest means system of money right now. Why? It is because it is built on a technology called blockchain. Now, the technology, I may not want to sound so complex, but people can actually check these things online. Okay, this is 21st century, so anything I say can be verified. So I'll try to be as basic as possible. Now, you see, the blockchain technology is a fully decentralized technology. It's just a system of storing data in a decentralized way. Now, when the data or that data is financial records, then it is called cryptocurrency. You can store any type of records on the blockchain. You can store medical records, election records, financial records. But once it's financial records, we call it cryptocurrency. So it's stored in such a way that it is stored in a decentralized way, so that there is no central body that can change or manipulate the data, that record. No central body. So with that, cryptocurrencies are very secure. And when you are opening a crypto wallet, you receive what is called a 12 key phrase. A decentralized crypto wallet, you receive a 12 key phrase. Now that 12 key phrase secures your money on the blockchain. Meaning, if you don't have the 12 key phrase, let's say you now lose your device, you can't have access to it. And if it doesn't matter anywhere you are in the world, if anybody, it's the only person that can access your account or hack your account is someone who have access to this 12 key phrase. So your account is protected by that 12 key phrase. There is no back end with cryptocurrency. There is no back end. Nobody can tamper with what's going on back end with your money. If you have Bitcoin now, for example, saved in your wallet, there's no back end for somebody to change the records or manipulate or to move your money, except they have access to your 12 key phrase, because the blockchain secures your records. Now, like I said earlier, the record stored on the blockchain is not only cryptocurrency. Any record that you don't want to be manipulated by individuals, by any central body, store it on the blockchain. That technology has come to stay. It's otherwise called Web3. It is changing the way data is being stored. Large companies, big companies, multinationals like Apple, Samsung, they are already moving their records from regular Web2 to Web3 because it is more permanent. Now, as it stands, as I speak to you, the blockchain technology is like the most safest technology on planet Earth. It's actually nothing. No technology has been discovered that can destroy records on the blockchain. The reason is because it's like, for example, you want to store your school records, for example. If you go to your university, you can check your records there. Let's assume the records of your school is stored with all the universities in the world, such that any country you are in, you don't have to come back to Nigeria to go to your school to get your records. You can stop by there and just get the records. It means if you tamper with the one in Nigeria, it doesn't change the one in South Africa. True. And the one in South Africa and in other countries would throw an error, right? If you want to tamper with the one in Nigeria. That is how blockchain is decentralized. And these are not human beings. The records are not stored with human beings. They are stored on billions of computers across the world. So none can be tampered with. That is why cryptocurrency, that is why no government has been successful in banning cryptocurrency. It's not because they don't want to. In fact, so many governments have tried, the Chinese government, the US government, but because the records of such transactions are decentralized. So of course, now coming down to the impact of cryptocurrency on national economy and the rest, you see, Mr. Oluwapelumi, one thing you will know if you're a good student of history is that you see, change is the only constant thing, and the evolution of things keep happening. If you ask me what is the impact, does it mean banks should no longer exist? I'll ask you a simple question. What happened to post office when emails started, right? It sounded like a joke. It sounded like a joke. Of course, these things take years, sometimes even decades, before they eventually go mainstream. So, but gradually, people just begin to adopt this technology. So, what happened to traditional retail stores when e-commerce became the in thing? So, what happened to, for example, social media changed a whole lot. So, what is happening to now? The world is we're seeing AI taking over jobs. So, the question is not whether this technology is here to stay, is how can we maximize it? How can we align on the side of change? That is what we need to be looking at. And I think if we begin to look at it from that perspective, we'll find ways that this technology can benefit our national economy, right? There are ways this technology can benefit national economy. In fact, one of such ways was when banks were actually, in 2020, like you mentioned, the central bank stopped commercial banks from trading accounts for virtual asset service providers. Now, when it was done that time, what happened was that banks could easily tax those virtual asset service providers. So you couldn't buy or sell cryptocurrency without the knowledge of the bank. So that was one of the ways the banks were taxing and making a whole lot of money. And if you check, for example, Binance, go and check the volume of transactions in a day, you see the volume of money coming in and out. So that is a whole lot that can be tapped that I think we have not gotten right yet. It's not just Nigeria, it's everywhere in the world, most countries in the world, even the developed nations. So, but with time, as we progress, things will begin to align. The technology is still it's still an emerging technology. We are not, I don't think, where we are right now with blockchain technology and cryptocurrency is where the internet was sometime in 1995. So you see, there's still a long way to go. There's still a long way to, yeah, a lot will still happen as we progress. And I think it's like with every technology, we'll find ways to exist around with it and also find ways to make it beneficial to individuals and to the national economy.
Okay, well, the other side, I wanted you to speak on that is from the question, from one of the answers you gave when you were answering the last question I asked. If the government cannot moderate the use of cryptocurrency platforms, then we are at a risk of terrorism. When I was doing my introduction, I mentioned how that the CBN said one of the reasons that it had to go after the owners of Binance, because even as I speak now, the executive of Binance just left the court about a day or two ago. And it was that the platform was used to finance terrorism. And then it's also a platform that enhances the users, the people who perpetrate money laundering. The question will now be, if this platform makes it difficult for coordination, makes it difficult for monitoring, makes it difficult for moderating, then are we not at a huge risk of terrorism and money laundering? So maybe a way to ask the question is this: first, can the government moderate the use of cryptocurrency? Number two, if no, then are we not at the risk of terrorism and money laundering?
Okay, Mr. Pelumi, it's a laughable situation. Okay, but I know it's not just with the Nigerian government. Governments across the world have been doing all they can, right, to see that they regulate cryptocurrency transactions. But first is to ask ourselves, first, before cryptocurrency, there was terrorism, right? There was funding of terrorism. So it is not just the fault of cryptocurrency. And the whole idea of cryptocurrency is not even with centralized exchange. The whole idea, the power of cryptocurrency, is not with centralized exchange. I think centralized exchange is a blessing for cryptocurrency. And that is one of the ways it can be regulated. It's just that we've not seen it from that light yet. And I'll give you an example. You see, if you have Bitcoin and you want to, of course, if you have Bitcoin in your decentralized wallet, probably nobody will be able to know if you have that amount of money. you're holding such assets, whether it's USDT or whatsoever. But the only way that that money can be traced to you is when you need fiat currency. No money can come into Nigeria or out of Nigeria without, if we do our homework properly, without the knowledge of the government or with the authorities that are involved. Because you see, earlier on, when banks were trading accounts for virtual asset service providers, what it meant was that banks knew every money that was coming in and out. So you couldn't change your Bitcoin, your USDT, your BNB to any to fiat, to Naira without the knowledge of the bank. The bank has to facilitate such transaction because Naira is involved. So you see, centralized exchanges are actually a blessing. It's a way to regulate these things. Now, what the government is actually saying about Binance, I think it's rather too, in quotes, too late, but better late than never. You see, what you need to ask yourself is, who allowed Binance to operate in Nigeria in the first place? The government said they didn't have the requisite, documents to operate in Nigeria, the legal documents to operate in Nigeria, and they've been operating. Binance have been in Nigeria for crying out loud for God knows when, how many years now? Who allowed them to operate in Nigeria? Did they meet the regulatory standards, right? Is it because the Naira started falling, we started experiencing a free fall of the Naira? That's why the government is coming out to say this right now. Who are the people who allowed Binance to operate? These people need to be brought to book. You can't tell me that Binance has been doing these transactions all along and nobody raised an alarm. It means they were not properly regulated. Because in the last circular that the federal, one of the circulars the federal government brought out, when they said they were going to allow commercial banks again to trade assets for virtual asset service providers. They brought out some regulations for registration. It is not that easy to register a virtual assets company that manages virtual assets. It's not that easy. The regulations are there, and you have to meet all those regulations, right? Get all those certifications with EFCC and the rest, so that whenever transactions is happening on your platform, they are aware, so we can trace what is coming in and what is going out. But of course, because maybe there was a loophole and that wasn't done properly, that is why unscrupulous elements, the bad guys, took advantage of Binance. And you see, Binance is a business. It's a business. There is a business platform, right? They probably, I don't know if they were in the know or maybe they facilitated it, but there are users scattered out everywhere on Binance, right? That they can just carry out transactions, and Binance just provides the platform for them to carry out these transactions. So, but another thing Binance does for every user is KYC. There are KYC. You can't trade assets on this platform without KYC. So, where is this data? Who manages the KYC of Binance? The federal government, the regulatory authorities, they have access to this KYC such that they can trace these transactions. So if cryptocurrencies are going to be used to fund terrorism, it has to be done outside centralized exchanges. With centralized exchanges and proper regulation, you can't use cryptocurrency to fund terrorism because you will easily be spotted. It's because the banks will have to be involved. So I think we are solving the problem from the fruit rather than from the roots. So I think we should go back to the roots. Yeah.
Okay, but if you say that the banks will always be in the know when you're about to convert the cryptocurrency to Naira, then how about a situation where, like you mentioned, that there are hotels in Abuja that accept cryptocurrency as a means of payment? Do you think can the bank track that transaction, given that it's from a cryptocurrency wallet or another cryptocurrency wallet? Can the bank track that transaction?
Of course, no. That is a no. Okay. When you have, let's say, for example, once centralized exchanges are out of the way and everything is done from a decentralized wallet, the records are now stored on a blockchain that no central body can actually regulate such transactions. Now, one of the things government can do is make sure that probably cryptocurrency is not mainstream, right? Such that you must need to pass it through our local currency for you to use it. When that is done, we won't face these challenges anymore. Or find a way to coexist so that there is a limit to certain transactions that can be carried out. these hotels or whatsoever companies that accept these transactions with cryptocurrencies, of course, they have accounts with banks. So you can, if they do certain transactions and you see, you can easily flag certain transactions and know that this doesn't tally with your income. So where is this extra money coming from? You can trace all such kind of
All such kind of,
and even if the bank receive it as cryptocurrency, the bank to carry out other transactions, daily transactions, will need to change it to local currency. So either ways, what I'm saying is that as long as you have to change the cryptocurrency into a local currency, that is where the regulation can come in.
Now, so
Yes.
for where I sit here, I can see a lot of things playing out. I'm imagining that if you allow cryptocurrency to have its way almost 100%, then our total revenue will reduce, because the government has to know how much you are earning to tax a particular hotel, for instance, that is in Abuja, a big hotel in Abuja, for instance, that pay some amount to the government as a way of paying tax. And now that they have resulted into switching into using cryptocurrency as a means of payment, then the government cannot track their bank statement, and then they will not in a way pay the exact tax due to the government, because they will say that this is the amount that they made via cash transaction, via transfers to the bank account, whereas they have made so much more when it has to do with cryptocurrency wallet to cryptocurrency wallet. So I would say that we have seen a country like China key into cryptocurrency. Would you say, so I think you've mentioned an idea as to the fact that there should be a limit. Would you say that the government should partner with these cryptocurrency platforms to ensure that some transactions don't go beyond an amount, so that it's easy for the government to track and ensure that our banks here are functioning? What would you say to that?
Yes, actually, that is what should happen. That is what I see that will happen in countries like China. That's what is happening, actually. The government is collaborating. In fact, the government is participating with the establishment of this kind of virtual asset service providers, so that transactions can be regulated, so that not every Dick, Tom, and Harry can just perform transactions in cryptocurrency. That is what we should see. That is what we should see, because just like if you're a student of history, like I said, it's every technology. Even with this technology, you will know that this technology is here to stay.
Definitely.
Fighting it might be futile. So what we need to be looking to look at is, how can we leverage it? What are the ways? What are other countries that are doing better with it? What are they doing that we are not doing
We're
yet?
not doing. Absolutely.
What can we do? We need to learn from their model. What model are they using to achieve the results that they're getting? Learn from their model and begin to apply it to the uniqueness of our own situation.
Absolutely. Now, to the users, for instance. So we're talking about people who want to plug into this system, because it's actually the future of money. And you see, every time you fight a particular invention, you increase resolve. Everything you fight will grow. So how can the users plug into this? And then what are the risks associated? So 3 questions, quick one. How can users plug into this? What are the risks associated? And because I know that if I put my money in the bank, for instance, I should expect interest on my money. So do I get an interest every time my money is in the wallet? 3 questions for you, Mr. Andrew.
Okay, this is a conversation for a whole different session, but let me see if I can just compress everything. Now, there are several ways you can make money from cryptocurrency, several ways, and I'll just run through all of them, several ways. Number one is staking, right? You can buy, staking is more like fixed deposit. What happens in fixed deposits? You keep your money, and over a certain period of time, you get a certain amount. With cryptocurrencies too, it's the same thing. On centralized exchanges, right? You can stake your currency, stake your money there, and get a certain percentage in return. Okay. Most commercial banks, the return is almost, because of inflation, is almost zero, right? Your return over a long period of time is almost zero, or you'll probably be in the negative. Now, but with cryptocurrency, because it's a new and emerging industry, you can get up to probably 5 to 30, between 10 to 30%, over the next 12 months, right? You can see such kind of interest on your capital over the next 12 months when you stake cryptocurrency. Of course, but what I usually recommend is people to go for knowledge first. Just like with anything, go for knowledge first. Apart from staking, you can buy certain assets that are volatile and expect them to grow in value, just like people buy stocks and expect them to grow in value. So you can study that particular asset, study the white paper of that asset and everything, and buy low and expect the stock to go high. For example, this year, we are in a season called the bull market, when cryptocurrency the value will spike. So you can buy low and sell high. For example, a few months back, I think about 3 months, Bitcoin was around $15,000. Right now, Bitcoin is around about $65,000. So you see, you can buy low, sell high. And not just Bitcoin, several other cryptocurrencies. In fact, if you're starting out, I would advise you start out with cryptocurrencies that are still relatively cheap, lower in value. So that's another way. Third way people make money from cryptocurrency is trading, more like what happens in Forex, foreign exchange market, where you can trade currency pairs, trade the US dollar against the pounds and the rest. With cryptocurrency also, if you learn, but this requires expertise, it requires knowledge and the rest. So if you learn, you can learn how to trade cryptocurrency, futures and spot trading, and make money for yourself. Fourthly, let me see if I can. There are several ways. There are several ways. Yeah, there are several ways. I can't exhaust.
You can exhaust all.
Okay. But find a professional and get yourself involved. Yeah.
Absolutely. And so in thinking about what the government can do going forward, some people have said that the government should try to maybe craft out its own cryptocurrency. And what would you say to that? We've seen countries try their best in ensuring that they want the central bank, for instance, they call it the CBDC. So it's called the Central Bank Digital Currency. Would you say that the government should try to see how it can carve out its own cryptocurrency so that it can also play in that market and people can trade with our currency in that space as well?
It's actually good. It's actually the future of money. So the government should key into it. Like in the United States, we have USDT. We have several stable tokens that are pegged to the United States dollar. USDT means United States dollar token. Okay. We have USDC. So there are several stable tokens that are in that region. Now, what the government, the central government, the federal government was trying to do was to do something similar. But what we had was a digital currency and not a cryptocurrency, actually. Right? The in-era was more like the same thing with electronic money, the money you have in your bank account, because it was still regulated and issued by the central government, by the central bank. So that defeats the purpose. Okay. But I think it's a step in the right direction, and I believe it's still possibly under development. I've not heard so much about it lately, but I believe they are working behind the scenes to see that it evolves and gains power. But for that to become effective, we need to get our Naira back to shape so that people will have confidence in the Naira. Because how many Nigerians really want to just save their money in Naira? Okay, so once we regain confidence, our Naira gets back to its place, and the citizens regain the confidence in the Naira, and we have such kind of currency, people won't have a problem with there. Once there are offers for people to earn more money from their money, why not? And I think it's a step in the right direction. It's just that we are not there yet.
Thank you very much, Mr. Andrew Ogbe, for sharing such incredible perspective on the future of money. Thank you for coming on the show today.
Thank you, Mr. Oluwapelumi Awe. It's such an honor to be here.
Awesome. Thank you. Now, thank you for joining today. We have taken you from the past, the present, and also spoken about the future of money. Let me know what you think about this in the comment. Do you think cryptocurrency is the future of money? What is the future of money, actually? I want to see your comment in the comment section. Thank you for joining me today. My name is Oluwapelumi Awe. See you on the next one.